I'll entertain you with my flip books from my childhood.
Yeah. Ooh.
This was the official Hawkman pitch for Batman the Animated
Exactly.
Series. It never made it in. Oh my god. Welcome, everybody, to Dan Reba's t-shirt. We're here with Dan Reba. He's a director and character designer, storyboard artist on every DCAU show. Thank you for being here, Dan. It really is an honor to talk to you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It really is my pleasure. It's like, this is all I got at this point. All of this, was a gift. It was like my friend John Trapnell gave that to me. It was a reject. This is a promotional thing they were throwing out.
I thought at first you were saying the Batman Beyond thing was rejected because it had the wrong bat symbol on it, but now I realize
it's not
two
yellow.
different things.
It's not yellow.
Yeah, thank you.
I watched.
Yeah, this guy gets the memes.
For something that is like we're so on top of things and so completist on everything, at some point you kind of go, wait, what's that mean? And ultimately, it means somebody screwed up. It's really what it boils down to is your guess is pretty much correct, I'm sure. We were in a rush. We're like, we don't have time to design a new Batcave. Let's just use the Batman Beyond one. Let's send it through. There's so many times when there are things that are afterthoughts that actually go into the series and become something like, I have posted somewhere of Bruce like suggesting Wonder Woman kissing Batman. And all of that was like something Bruce just came up with to just kind of give the ending of that sequence a little more pizzazz. And then he was going to toss it out. And I was like, are you nuts? This is awesome. He's like, it's too much, isn't it? I'm like, no, she's got to kiss him. It's so cute. It's so charming. Nobody's going to make a big deal out of it. It's not romantic. It's just like she's thanking him because he's caring about her. No, everybody glommed onto that. And he went, it's a romance. And they're like, oh. So I'm indirectly responsible because Bruce did it, but he was going to throw it out. And there was the one time where I was like, no, let's do it.
Well, before we get too deep into the superheroes and Justice League and whatnot, tell us how you got into the animation industry.
I did a lot of flip books when I was a kid. So I've been oh, sorry, you can't see the punch. Oh no, I can't flip past. Yeah. So anyway, I've been drawing all my life. I love cartoons. I'm 3-4 years old. I'm seeing a lot of Batman and Superman, and then the Marvel stuff is coming into the house. I'm obsessed with all of this stuff. So I was excited to see the Adam West show. It was just the perfect age for that stuff for me. I grew up in Arlington, Virginia. Art teacher had taught Mike Kaluta, comic book artist. He did the Shadow and stuff for DC. Mm-hmm. So that actually got my parents to go, oh, you can actually make a living. Because the teacher's like, hey, I have a student that makes a living making comic books. I was, you can do this. And then my dad just kind of casually goes, oh, I have a cousin that teaches animation at the School of Visual Arts in New York. So I was like, what? What was I going to find out? And it was like, I felt like Uncle Owen and Obi-Wan. We went to visit. I saw that Will Eisner, Art Spiegelman, Harvey Kurtzman were teaching there. There's no way I'm not going to this school. This is the school I have to go to. Looking for work. There was a strike at the time. It was kind of tough getting work. I went to a convention at a mall that doesn't exist anymore. Scott Shaw was there. Brought some sketchbooks and stuff. He shows me over to some guy who's looking for work helping in between a Winnie the Pooh film. We hit it off. I got to clean up some animation for a few months. The next year I went to Disneyland and I found my cells for sale, the ones that I had drawn, my in-betweens, which is really cool. And I bought them like an idiot, and it cost me just about as much as they paid me for the stuff. And then after that I was at Ruby Spears doing storyboards for John Dorman's department, and that was the coolest thing in the world. They had done the Plastic Man show a few years before, which ironically Boyd had worked on as a layout artist. Mr. T was what they were starting on. I did a test for this thing called Puppy's New Adventure, the TV version of Dragon's Lair, the Don Bluth show. We did that. And Rubik the Amazing Cube. It's magical. It's a magical show. So yeah, those are the things I cut my teeth on.
There was a point where Alan Burnett came on and replaced people that weren't working out for the show. Were you a part of that bringing in of people?
I was in from the get-go. In between Ruby Spears and Warner's, I was at Deke for 7 years, working on Real Ghostbusters, Kid Video, Starcom, and a bunch of really fun stuff. It was and that's where I met Kevin. Kevin Altieri was there about a week or two before me. Bruce was desperate for character designers. I was at TMS for a year, the same studio that ended up doing animation for Batman and Superman and stuff. I got a call to go, hey, there's this Batman thing. And I'd already seen a bootleg of the promo. It was all over town. town. Everybody had seen this thing, and I had like a 7th generation version that it was like, and I just watch it over and over again, going, oh, I wish I could work on this. I get this call from Kevin going, hey, I have this Batman thing I'm working on. I'm like, I know! Oh my gosh!
Did you have any characters that you got to design that were like, oh, no way, I get to design, so-and-so? You're letting me have the keys to that character?
No, actually.
No.
No, because what happened was Bruce and I were kind of hash out Man-Bat at the time. He had a version by Kevin Nolan that was really cool, and he had a bunch of other stuff going on, and nothing was quite clicking, and I kind of came up with this thing that I really wanted to see in it, so at least that got implemented. It always bothered me the way that his wings come out of his wrist bone, because it's like the whole point of a bat is that the hands are the wings. Chiroptera,
right.
Like the hand is the wing. I kind of figured out this cool way of like having the wings be these fingers, and he can still like use his little pinchers to climb. Bruce liked that idea.
Zatanna was the first one that you directed, but you also did episodes like Trial, Riddler's Reform, Baby Doll, Batgirl Returns.
Which you're upset
awesome
about.
ones.
You're upset about Riddler's Reform not having an apostrophe in
Oh,
the title.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh! It really. I can't look at it. It actually hurts my eyeball when I see it.
I think didn't they end up redoing that for the
No,
the
it's still
Blu-ray
messed
release
up. It's
recently?
still broken. There's no
No,
apostrophe.
and I begged them to fix it for the Blu-ray, and they were like, yeah, we'll fix it. And they did.
Whatever.
And they're like, oh, come on!
We recently talked to Sam Liu about his experience as a director on the DC animated original movie line, and he kind of explained like being a director is basically being a supervisor for the entire project. So we were wondering if that was kind of a similar experience
It
for
is
you.
at Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It is at Warner Brothers. Because for me, what happened was because I'm character designing one day, and then the next day it's like, here's the office. Here's a stack of layouts from What Is Reality. You got to finish looking at those. Here's a storyboard that's not complete. We got to make notes, and the show is short, so we got to board extra stuff. We got to pad it, and that was Zatanna. That's why I get a co-directing credit, because Zatanna was pretty much done all this while supervising layouts and redoing stuff in What Is Reality. Even though I don't get any credit on that, I did come up with like the layouts, how the characters kind of morph into two, like that kind of thing. I did that with
You'll get credit on the Watchtower database website.
There you go. Warner's is one of those places, at least on Bruce's shows, where the directors actually direct all the way. He let us go into the editing room and do first pass. Yeah, he's the final arbiter on everything, of course, but he would actually like trust me. In those days, it was a moviola, and you cut actual film.
Oh, Jesus.
This is actual film.
Wow.
Yeah. I gotta shine a light through it so you can actually see it. Clips out of Dreams of Darkness. So in that sense, yes, you kind of shepherd the thing through.
Yeah.
Because I always kind of liken it to like traffic directing, because it's like it's very clerical to some degree. It's creative and everything, but it really is sort of like you try to pick the right person to do the section, you cast them, and if you do it right, your job's really easy.
You gotta tell me you're purposely sitting under the bat ears.
I just noticed that too.
Y'all just noticed that? I've just been sitting here marveling at it for a little bit. You were credited as a sequence director on Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which just got the 4K Blu-ray release and all that fun stuff. So what scenes would people know you from on that movie? And what was the experience like working on that?
I think it just went to Netflix too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it did. Just today or yesterday.
That's awesome. It's like pretty much Chucky Saul's murder. I supervised that. There is the dinner sequence where Batman is spying on Andrea, reading their lips.
Both very iconic sequences.
Yeah.
And then the one I boarded was Bruce Wayne figuring out that the Laughing Man was the Joker with the red pencil. And
I was gonna say, was it your idea to have Bruce Wayne be the world's greatest detective and draw a smile on a piece of paper?
Yes, that's it. No, it's in the script, but it's like, but I got to act it.
How much did the experience on the movie differ from doing the typical cartoon show 22-minute episodes?
The episodes were budgeted at $500,000 each. And that was a big deal at the time. No show cost that much at that time. It was unheard of that you'd pay that much for a cartoon. So the feature is, it was almost a little over $2 million. And the thing that kind of threw us was when they were looking at the animatics and looking at stuff going, hey, I think we have a theatrical here. I think we can show this in theaters. And we were like, oh, really? Because our aspect ratio was for TV. We've got to go back and redo stuff. And we were almost already done with the boards, and there was a few shots that had to be reframed, and we had to figure out how to get the right. One thing that was kind of fun about the movie that I enjoyed was that Batman looking through the binoculars, and we did a shot that we basically ripped off from 2001. Their lips, their conversation, and then you pull through and you see Batman in the building behind them. And then we like looked and went, oh, it's 2001. It's Hal. It's like, yeah, of course. That's how you solve their problem. It's that. Flash forward 2 years later, decades later, I'm talking to Gary Lockwood at a convention. We're talking about 2001. And he said, the cool thing is, Kubrick would let me come up with ideas and solve problems. And the thing about the lips, where he's trying to read his lips, it was originally he was just going to like spy on them and hear them. And that wasn't working. So I suggested that he reads their lips and you have the shot between, and I was like, oh my God, we ripped you off!
Well, I wish we could talk about Batman the Animated Series all day, but
no.
Unfortunately, you worked on every show, so we have to talk.
I did, yes.
Transitioning to the new Batman Adventures, it seems like everybody's biggest gripe with the show was some of the character redesigns, particularly the Joker. Everyone goes after the Joker as like, oh my God, why did you do that?
As well they should. Right?
Was there any particular design that you loved, and anyone that you hated? Oh, I wish we'd never done that.
Well, obviously, I am with the fans on the Joker thing, and eventually Bruce came around and realized it when he did Justice League and Return of the Joker. They went, no, we can't do that one again. It was one of those things where that design had been based on some little shots that he had done in Mad Love that looked really cool. And the other thing that kind of bugs me is, yes, you have the thin line. I get it, the thin lines for the lips. That's great. But they're red. Why are they not red?
Had Mask of the Phantasm taken place during the new Batman Adventures, drawing the smile wouldn't have worked.
No, exactly. It's like, we took a gamble that we lost. I did like the Penguin. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about the original Penguin design, because Bruce had already had like the Burnley thing in mind. But we were like, no, hold on. We're going to do the movie guy. Yeah, keep in mind, Bruce and Eric were just designers and board guys. They had never been in a supervisory position before. It was a huge gamble to rest this entire franchise on these two untested guys. They send the material to Tim Burton, and Burton was like, yeah, these guys can do it. Yeah, absolutely they can do it. Do it. Give it to them. They can do it. So you're not going to turn around with that support that causes you to actually have a show and kind of go, no, we want to do the Penguin our way. No, thank you. We will support your movie. Thank you very much.
What's your headcanon for why the Penguin goes from his Danny DeVito flipper hands to normal human hands? What's the answer to this question?
That is interesting. It's like the Klingons. It's like the Klingons.
Yeah, exactly. That's plastic surgery.
I would think that's the easiest solution. Yeah.
I think gloves. They were gloves.
Yeah, he was just wearing mittens the whole time. Flesh-colored mittens.
That's all.
The series premiered with Holiday Nights, which was based off of, a handful of stories from the Batman Adventures Holiday Special.
Yes.
What was the process adapting those stories for the screen, and how were decisions made regarding what to keep and what not to include in it? I know the Mr. Freeze story got axed altogether, but there's tons of different little things here and there that didn't make it in.
Harley and Ivy thing is pretty close. I don't think there's much taken out, and James Tucker boarded that, and he took panels right out of the comic. Well, there is a funny network issue too, because the original designs were right out of the comic. In an apartment, two girls having fun, not wearing pants. Well, in our animation, we actually had to go back and give them boxers, because most of them were from the waist up and stuff. It was surprisingly only about 3 or 4 shots, but we had to retake 3 or 4 shots, and somebody had to draw boxer shorts on top of their little whatever they're wearing.
So you're telling me there's an alternate version of this that exists somewhere?
That's what I hear.
Yes, I may have it on VHS.
Oh my God! If you could somehow get that to us, that would be amazing.
For the channel.
I just found out recently why the Mr. Freeze episode was cut. As I just figured it just okay, we got these app breaks. We only have time for so much. So we either have to truncate these episodes and make them really brief and do them all, or we lose one. What Bruce said recently in an interview, because Sub-Zero had come out, Nora Freeze is alive at the end of Sub-Zero. She's cured. In our mind, she was dead, at least in a frozen tank still in that ice cube, the iceberg with the, he's still, that was when the comic was like, there's a tombstone, she's dead. And it made that episode really poignant, but it no longer exists now. It's like in a pocket universe.
I like to believe that the comic version still happened sometime during the original series.
There you go.
And then
good answer.
And then
Better.
everything else from that comic doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Until the episode.
Bingo. There you go.
Because in Batman Beyond, Mr. Freeze has his own headstone, so why wouldn't Nora?
Yeah, exactly.
She's not actually dead.
No, this is true. Good point. Good. Now I'm happier.
It's Superman time now, Ted.
Yes.
Superman questions. Okay, so